everyone, and welcome back to this very weird channel I'm running. I hope you're all doing well. I know you're writing exams at the moment, so it's probably not that fun for you, but I suppose this is another kind of like sketch with me thing where I'm just talking and enjoying something. And the topic of today is going to be drawing without a reference, because I promised it to you that I would do that. So yeah, I have a reference laid out in front of me right now, because this is not going to be a casual sketching session for me like last time. I went to study because now I feel confident again, and so I can throw myself out there and do things that I don't really like to do, but that I need to do to, continue to grow and improve. So, oh, this is loud. So yeah, I guess I'll just start. I've got like a grid laid out in front of me about like different like head angles. So I'm going to draw that, and while I talk, I hope I'm not going to screw up because it's not something that comes easy for me. So yeah, I am actually not somebody who has trouble with drawing without a reference, because I am not really used to draw without a reference. I'm used to draw without a reference, sorry. Because I never used one. When I was younger, I always felt like drawing with a reference meant that I was cheating, which is absolutely not the case. Like when you draw with a reference, you're not cheating at all. You're just helping yourself, and it's a very normal thing to do. I had to learn that. I think I only learned that this year, like properly. Oh, this is not working. I can't focus on drawing and talking at the same time, especially if it's something hard. But I think I'm just going to draw wherever I want to, because I cannot focus on talking and drawing. So I think that drawing with a reference is great help, and I think it's really important to do it. Honestly, I think that it was such a mistake to not draw with a reference for all these years, simply because, oh my god, this is so hard. Like, I'm trying to do something, but it doesn't work because I'm talking. Like, oh god. Last time it was easy because it was a topic that was easy, and I had like easy materials to work with, but this is kind of hard. Okay. I'm losing my train of thought here. I think it's very important here, because it actually shows you what things are supposed to look like. Because how are you supposed to draw things if you don't know what they look like? You can't just imagine it. And why did my music stop? Okay, there's new music coming. So what I thought was like, oh, okay, so if I'm copying something, I'm automatically cheating, which doesn't make me a real artist. And what I had in mind was basically all these people that started doing art because they were copying stuff, and then after that they just couldn't detach themselves from it, so they were kind of trapped in that idea that they couldn't draw by themselves, which is really frustrating, because if you're an artist, that's not what you want to do. You want to, draw your own stuff, and I suppose that's a place that a lot of people are in. I fortunately have never been there, because I didn't draw with a reference at all, like never. But I think that was such a mistake, because I wasted away so much time I could have spent studying stuff. I could have spent learning about some techniques I didn't know about, and I just didn't do that. I just drew and drew and drew and just repeated all my mistakes over and over again, instead of looking like once at something that was properly made to understand what mistakes I did. So if you don't use any reference at all, you are you're going to be stuck in one place for a very long time, and it's going to be very frustrating for you. It's just going to be not fun at all, because you're not going to see the progress. You're going to ask yourself, like, why am I worse than everybody else? Why can't I do this? Like, I'm doing it the proper way because I thought it was a proper way again. Why am I not improving? And all of that. But the thing is, like, you're not doing it right. Drawing with a reference is so important. What's the head? Like, because it teaches you what things look like. And to make your art correct and proper and, like, how it's supposed to, you need a reference, because, like, you're not a genius. Nobody's a genius. Even people who work in like the industry, they don't know what everything looks like. They're not, they're not a walking encyclopedia. Do you say that? I don't know, but they don't know everything either. Like, how are they supposed to at the same time? Like, can't really expect that from anybody. So it's really important and good to use references. When it becomes problematic again is when you can't draw without them. So what I would do when I draw with a reference, which I do more frequently now since I've learned that it's a good idea to use them because it's important, is to really focus on understanding what the reference is portraying, like what's happening on the reference. Yeah, this is not very good, but so if you've got a reference and you just see it and you just try to copy the lines individually, then that's not going to help you. Then you're just copying a picture and you will not be able to reproduce it afterwards. What's really important when you use a reference is to try and understand what the artist did there, how they used their shapes, how they used their colours, why they did, I don't know, the eyes that way, why they did the mouth that way, and that's really helpful because that gives you a basis for, like a foundation, I guess, for your own art. When you do studies, you look at the artist's work, you try to copy it and reproduce it so you understand what the process of thought was, like the thought process, and then you include that in your own strategies. And that's what really matters because that's what really teaches you stuff. So I don't think that the problem is to draw with a reference. I think that the problem is to properly draw with a reference, because there's just different ways to do it. What I do most of the time is sometimes I do like one page and the other. So I do one page where I just go through, I don't know, like things on Pinterest or like on the internet, or I just take a photo of myself or, all that stuff. So I search for references. I copy all of them, thinking about like how they look and trying to memorize things. And then on the other page, so for example, I would do this page, and on the other page, I would try to draw these things without the reference. So not obviously copying exactly the same poses because that would be kind of unnecessary, but trying to apply the things I learned to other stuff. So I don't know, if I do poses, for example, and I was studying the body, I would do other poses, trying to include what I learned about like the motions and stuff on other poses. And that really helps you because then you kind of incorporate this knowledge in your own drawings and you appropriate yourself that knowledge. And that's how you get to draw without a reference later on, because it doesn't feel like you're copying something, it feels like it's your own, and you can apply it to different things. So the important thing is not just to know, like, oh, okay, I can draw this exact specific thing. It's taking that one specific drawing or specific position or specific look or whatever, and being able to apply it to different things. So that's really important. So you don't even need to focus on everything. You can just focus on like one single thing. It could be, for example, like the lighting, or the like features of the face, like the eyes or the eyebrows or the nose, or how everything fits together, or like the body proportions. It can be anything. You don't need to know everything because overwhelming yourself is never a good idea in general. But you can just, take like one single aspect and then trying to understand it and then applying it to your art. That's really cool too, because then you are able to develop your style. I know that loads of people always talk about developing your style and all of that, and it's a very weird subject because no one really knows what style is or how to develop a style. But if you take artists you like and you're like, oh, I love how they choose their colors. I like how they do the backgrounds, for example. Then you can just study that. You just take the artist's picture, you reproduce everything they did, and trying to notice like what their process of thought was, their thought process, oh god. And then you'll be able to maybe one day do something similar, or you discover like, oh, I don't like how this artist does the technique, like I don't enjoy it. Then you know that it's nothing for you. Or you can kind of change it to match your own style. So that's really beneficial. I don't think that, again, I think I'm repeating myself, but I don't think that drawing with a reference is a bad thing. I just think that how you draw with a reference can be very bad. So I'd suggest doing these kind of like study sessions where you just copy something, try to really understand what the person went through, trying to connect the dots and all of that. And then after that, trying to do some of this work by yourself. Yeah, I guess that's all I've got to say. You can do that like every day or like once a week. In general, the more the better, but it's always going to help you. Like, there's no point where I'm going to say like, no, don't do it. It's always good to do it. And what I think is even more helpful is when you shoot references of yourself, because then you understand. For example, I do that a lot when I want to do certain positions, because sometimes it's really hard to find specific positions you're looking for. Stock images always look very stiff, and sometimes it's like something super specific, like girl tying her shoe while laying on, I don't even know, like just imagine something. And sometimes it's really difficult to find that. So I really like to shoot my own reference, because I also, my muscles remember what position I was in. Then I remember what position, like, I don't know, I can remember what the position feels like and what it looks like, and I can associate that with the other one. So that's pretty cool, honestly. I do really like it, especially as a dancer. I think that's pretty dope. I think that's really helpful. So shooting your own reference has a lot of benefits, I guess. A lot of advantages, let's put it like that. Yeah, I guess that's it. I just tell you to do this exercise because that really helps. And even if it doesn't look good, it's not about it looking good, it's about learning things. So if it looks like completely terrible, well, that's fine, as long as you feel like you've learned something and there's like an actual idea behind what you did. That's fine. Like that's the purpose it has. It's not to look good, because as soon as you choose a reference and your only goal is to make it look good, you're going to go by drawing the lines for themselves again and not thinking in shapes and like in movement and all of that and connections. So don't think about it looking good. Just think about copying the one aspect you were focusing on as best as you can, while thinking about what the person's thought process was, because that's what's going to help you. I hope I made myself clear. I feel like I was repeating myself over and over. And yeah, don't pay attention to don't pay attention to my awful drawings. You cannot look away, so sorry. But this is my studying, so it's not nice. But at least it teaches me what I need to know, I guess. That's not even right. I'm going to put that wonderful flower pot away, put it there. Yeah. So wait, I'm going to check how long I filmed, because oh, okay, that's good. That's not too bad. So yeah, moving on. I discussed that. I can talk more about that next time, but I feel like this is all you need right now. Just stick to that exercise and you will definitely get better and appropriate yourself some knowledge that will help you to draw by yourself. So yeah, so moving on to something else I want to talk about. This has nothing to do with drawing in itself. This is more of an animation rant, I guess. So I watched the very popular show that's named She-Ra Princesses of Power, I think, or Princes of Power. I don't remember. But it's basically about this girl. She is part of this evil group, like the Hordes, and they don't like the princesses on the planet, because there's some princesses with like magical powers and all that. They don't like them. They want to kill them, basically. Well, not kill them, but like, yeah, they don't like them. And they think they're really scary and all of that stuff. And then one time, like Adora, the main character, she accidentally finds herself in like a princess-dominated part of the planet, I suppose. And she learns that they're not evil, and she's a princess herself, actually, because she's got like the sword and all of that, blah, blah, blah. And so the show's about, yeah, these princesses fighting evil and all of that. And wow, what is this? And the show has gotten a lot of praise because it has a lesbian couple, for example. So what you need to know is that in the show, 90% of the cast is female. There's not a lot of male leads, not main leads. These aren't even leads, just like characters, even side characters. I think there's like 3 or 4 male side characters. There's not a lot of male people there, and the cast is pretty large. Ooh, the music's really... Wait. There you go. So it's really not well balanced, which isn't a bad thing because this show apparently is supposed to be very I guess empowering for women, which I think is good. But then at the same time, the imbalance in the cast is a bit weird. But yeah, I'm not complaining too much because I think it's a good idea though. So the final season aired this month, and it was a huge thing because there's the ship. I mean, we've got a lesbian couple there. It's like two princesses, and they're married, they're adults, and they're just really cute. And it's some really good representation. I can say nothing against that. It's some really good representation. But there's this ship between Adora, which is again the main character, and then her best friend Catra, who got left behind when she joined the Princess Alliance, and Catra stayed in the Horde, so with the evil people, and she's one of the main antagonists throughout the show. And in the last season, she kind of comes back to Adora, and there's always this like weird tension between them, so the fandom's always like, oh my god, they're so gay for each other, which honestly, I watched the show and it's true, like they're so gay for each other. But what annoys me a lot, so I'm not gonna, okay, if you want to watch the show, skip forward, because I'm going to spoil something, but, so, I mean, it's not really surprising, but yeah. So in the end, in the last season, they finally got together, and that's a good thing, like, that's great. But what's bothering me here is just, there's loads of people now that run around. You know, the show ended basically with them coming together. And it's really bothersome because loads of people are running around now saying like, oh my god, this is the best show I've ever seen. It's so good. Like it's just so good. And honestly, I like the show. It was entertaining. It was a good show, but like it wasn't outstanding. I was not like astounded by it or anything. It was good for what it was, but you know, that's it. It wasn't amazing. It's not a masterpiece. It's just a show, which fulfills its purpose. It's a good show, but then like, it's not amazing, and I don't like it because lots of people are just saying, "Oh my god, the representation was so good. The show is so amazing. It's my favorite show." I'm like, just because there was amazing representation, which is true, it doesn't mean that the show in itself is amazing. Like, I feel like that's a bit of an insult to the writers because it just feels like, just because, I'm just gonna say it very like blatantly, just because it's gay, like it's good, that automatically makes it good. That's a bit of an insult to the writers because then what was their job? Like, what did they do? I don't know. I think people should differentiate. Saying that the show had really good representation is true, and it's important to say that because it really had. But saying that because of that, the overall show is the best thing they've ever seen, that is not true, because it's simply not the best thing I've ever seen. It's not an outstanding thing. It's good. And the representation is amazing. But on a visual scale and like on a storytelling scale, it's not outstanding. Like, it's a good show, but it's not amazing. It really bothers me. I'm absolutely not against like LGBTQ plus or anything like that. But I really didn't like the overall kind of response to it, because now it's just been glorified just because it's gay. Which is a bit, I don't like it, because yeah, the show in itself is kind of discarded as just like, oh, it's the gay show. Like, no, there's so much else going on in there and so much other things to talk about. And the thing is, as soon as you criticize a show, it's like, oh my god, you're so homophobic. I'm like, no, I'm not homophobic. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that it was bad. It was great. Like, these parts were amazing. It was some great stuff, again. But that doesn't mean that it makes the entire show great or amazing. It just means that this one aspect of the show was good. That's exactly as if I would say, like, oh my god, in that show, I really loved, I don't know, let's just say, like, the lighting and the backgrounds and, like, the colours, and so the show is amazing. That doesn't make the entire show amazing. That just makes this one aspect amazing. And I think people should really calm down. It's really, like, not cool. Okay, so another thing I watched this month was The Midnight Gospel. So, by the way, all the things I'm talking about are cartoons. So the next thing I watched this month was The Midnight Gospel, which it's an interesting show. It's very weird. I've never watched anything as weird before. I think I can stop like just drawing around this It's not going to get better. Never mind. This is a study page, so it's fine. So I watched the Midnight Gospel, and the Midnight Gospel is a very interesting show because it's all of the dialogue, not all of it, I think, most of it, because yeah, that would make sense. Most of the dialogue is actually from a podcast about like spirituality and all that stuff. So it already starts weirdly, I know. So they have to animate to the podcast, and there's just so many weird things happening. It's about this guy living in this like weird universe, and he's got this like universe simulator, and he just goes into it to interview people. It's just a very weird show, and there's so many weird stuff happening, and it's very confusing, and all the interviews are about like spirituality and death and life, and it is interesting. It's a bit weird sometimes, but it is interesting, and it's kind of entertaining. It's very calming, honestly. It was very calming because the podcasts are just so, yeah, in general, podcasts are just like very, very calming to me. But it was a good thing if you like being very not disturbed, but like very confused, then that's a show for you. Something else I watched this month was Scissor 7, which is a Chinese anime produced by Netflix, which already sounds like a nightmare, but I swear it was good, and I actually really liked the show. I learned from it by an Instagram account I was following, that's named Katsuka, and it's an Instagram account talking about animation, like recent animation that's going to be published. And yeah, I learned, oh god, I'm so sorry, I'm focusing more on talking than drawing. So it's an animation studio that focuses, and it's not even an animation studio, sorry, it's a website focusing on animation and animation that's being put out now. And so I get a lot of my infos from there because they have a lot of very interesting and very niche content, I'd say, they talk about. And they were talking about this new opening from Scissor 7, and the opening was so nice and so diverse and very modern, and it reminded me of all these like student thesis films I see online, so I wanted to watch it just to see what it was like. And I started watching it. It was really good. It was very fun. It had that cartoony kind of atmosphere to it when it was more funny, and when it started to be more epic, then it started having more like anime qualities. So I really liked the show, and I don't know how, but they balanced the very prevalent goofiness with the epicness and like the tragedy of it all very well. It was just such a good show, honestly, and it was really entertaining. It was really good. If anybody would ask me, I'd say that I prefer this to She-Ra. Not because I hate She-Ra, it's just a more interesting show. I like the style a lot more. It was just very refreshing. It was just a lot of fun. It was cool. I like that show a lot. It was pretty dope. Oh god, I hate doing perspective. It's so difficult. Like, look at these dudes. Like the poor dudes. I'm probably going to include a fully inked like finishing thing at the end because this is just sad. But yeah, so this is what I watched this month. I was actually pretty happy with what I watched this month. I watched a lot this month for my standards. Normally I don't watch anything because I don't have time. Or I feel like I don't have time. I also thought about making my YouTube a bit more professional, I guess. That sounds weird, but maybe like making an animation I can put to my intro and thinking about like a proper YouTube channel name. And oh yeah, what I forgot to say was all of my sketchbook tool videos are now in a playlist you can watch, and I also put my animation playlist about like all the great shorts and studio reels and like student thesis films I like on my channel, so you can watch these if you want to be inspired or anything like that. And yeah, my sketchbook tours are public now, so anybody can watch them if they want to, that is. I don't think anybody's going to come to my channel, so I don't think it's like a big deal, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to just access this, and I could put this into just a full-on playlist, so I think that's going to be a lot easier. I think I'm going to finish here. Not that my page is finished, but like I'm finished talking, and I think the video is going to be too long if I drag this out. I'm probably going to do more studies afterwards, but it's really difficult to draw with that lamp in my face because I can't really focus on my drawing. And when I'm filming, actually, what I notice is I do like so many small lines because I'm just like drawing over it again because I'm thinking about what I can do next while talking. Oh god, the music is loud. So my drawings tend to not come out the best while I'm filming. But I do really like filming. I think this is a lot of fun for me. I'm probably going to do a video once a week, or at least I'll try. And yeah, just maybe every Sunday or something like that. And I'll try starting to be a bit more professional again, like cutting my videos and all of that stuff. We'll see about that. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video. I hope this was kind of helpful or entertaining or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!